Hi, I'm Matt Sanford with the LifeWorks group, and in part one of this two-part series I explained some of the underlying causes to being self-critical in nature. This is the follow-up in which I'll offer some strategies to countering your shame-based self and developing a new approach that can boost your self-esteem and lighten heavy loads of negativity. Number one is increase your awareness of your self-talk. This just means that you have to see how much of this negative, harsh, self-belittling talk that you do and come to see how unfair you really are towards yourself. Begin to track it by keeping a list. Don't trust yourself to merely remember, so track the ways that you characterize yourself and the terms that you use most often. Second one is to challenge your critic by seeking evidence. See, once you realize that you are self-critical, you're probably still convinced that for the most part you deserve it. And like I said in part one, that this is helpful and motivating to you. So what you need to do is to challenge your assumptions. Up to now, they have taken root as conclusions, but they ended up there undeveloped. And so now is the time to consider and weigh the evidence. Is it really true that I'm stupid, lazy, unforgivable, behind others my age, uninteresting, dull, to this or that? You see, these types of statements are simply globalizing insults. They aren't statements involving facts. But I would wager that you'll try to convince me that they are true, because you can find 1 to 3 people who are better than you at this or that. My counter would be that you have certainly not cast your net widely enough. To make an accurate comparison, you would need to compare yourself to a minimum of 50 other people, and they would need to be a cross-section of the general public. The point is that you need to begin aiming for accuracy rather than aiming for proving something that you've already bought into believing, because sure, you can find it, but you haven't proven anything. Practice catching your globalizing self-statements and then checking them for evidence. Number 3 is to develop self-empathy. Making self-critical statements comes easy for you, but what about forgiving, empathic statements? Is it comfortable for you to say it's okay when you forgot to call that friend back, or when you got a speeding ticket, or when you sat watching TV instead of checking something off your list, or when you missed your mother's birthday, or got tongue-tied trying to talk to the girl, or avoided trying to talk to the girl? Do you believe that what you do is somehow worse than what others do and less forgivable? Well, what you're telling me is that you really don't like yourself very much, which is what happens when you live under performance. See, you can only accept yourself as much as others will accept you, and you believe that that must be based on what you can do. I'm willing to bet that you don't live this way. Do you love someone? Maybe even a dog or a cat. Do you love them only when they do the right things, or do enough of the right things? When they fail, do you stop loving them? Maybe in extreme situations, in violations, maybe we would, but frankly, we usually forgive a lot in those we love. Love and forgiveness, we know, go together. So if you want to feel better about yourself, you'll need to practice forgiving yourself. Learn to see yourself in balance, full of the capacity to mess up and also the capacity to learn and grow, which is why we mess up in the first place. The fourth one is to experience grace from God and others. Struggling with the reality that we are far from perfect is really a spiritual encounter. See, God is perfect, and we hate that we're not. We experience shame and embarrassment in our frailties, and we want to hide. This lack of acknowledgement and affirmation that we received in our families not only damages our sense of worth, but also warps our perceptions of God. We believe He also does not accept us. Throw that together with teachings of judgment and hell, and we're set up to see God as the ultimate critic. But what if? What if God is not the harsh judge? It's just us. What if we've projected our perfectionism onto God? What if God thinks about you very differently than you do, or than you think He does? What if God sees and knows you completely and accepts you? That's the whole purpose of Jesus in the gospel, by the way. He accepts us, and then through Christ He frees us. We can experience freedom from our critic when we come out of hiding. And that means dare to let others into our struggles. Bring your harsh criticisms before God and experience His graciousness. Find someone you can open up with about your self-condemnations and receive healthy feedback from a few trusted friends. Receiving grace and understanding from others is normalizing and healing. I know that this is really scary. Everything inside you and in your experience is telling you that you'll be misunderstood and shamed if you let down. That's why you're trying so hard to perform, to cover up your weaknesses, or at least not let anyone see or know them. Go to God first and ask for His help on this. I know you long to be accepted, not for what you can perform, but for who you are. You'll never get that kind of acceptance through performing. I invite you to try on these 4 approaches to letting go of your inner critic. May God shine His grace on you.